So firstly, let's understand this term actually. The original term was sin stock.
First, tell me what are sin products.
Perfect. Yeah. So what are sin stocks, right? So sin stocks are stocks or shares of particular businesses or particular companies. Now, what are the companies typically that are considered to be sins, right? So again, sin is from the point of view of Hindi, mein jisko hum log papi ya paap,
Papi,
right?
yes.
So the concept is that companies which profit or benefit from taking advantage of people's weakness, that is a sin stock. यानी कि alcohol, let's say tobacco, in some cases casinos, gambling casinos, right? Pornography where it's legal, so those stocks. And probably now, I don't know how many companies in the US which sell marijuana have gone public, but such companies. So companies which are listed on the stock market, therefore we are calling them stocks, and which make either alcoholic or spirits or beers or tobacco or in gambling. Those are broadly called as sin stocks or sin businesses, and even their marketing is known as, sin marketing or something like that. But now again, what we need to understand is this again changes from culture to culture, right? So for example, if you go to Scotland, right, there are companies making single malts. They don't think of that as a sin.
What is single malt?
Single malts are basically all these Glenlivet, Glenmorangie that you have heard of, right?
Alcohol है ना?
Alcohol. They're whiskies, right? Scotch whiskies.
I don't know anything. आप single malt बोले तो मुझे नहीं मालूम आप किस चीज के बारे
Okay,
में बात कर रहे हो.
so you know Scotch.
Yes.
Right? So Scotch may are typically two types, right? Blended and single malt. Okay, so your blended is your Johnny Walker Black Label, Chivas Regal,
Achha.
etc. These will blend different whiskies and give you a particular smooth, well-tasting beverage, right? Or alcohol. Single malt का मतलब है कि there is one particular distillery. सिर्फ उनके इधर का aged whiskey or Scotch in this case is called a single malt Scotch or a single malt whiskey, right? So single malt का actually मतलब है single distillery. It actually means, and it's malt only, it's not grain whiskey, it's only malted whiskey. So single malt is essentially where it's only from one distillery. Now, if you go to Scotland, that is part of their culture. They will not say, "Arey, ye to sin hai."
Yeah.
For them, it's not sin. Same way, if you go to Germany, if you go to Holland, there is a long tradition of brewing beer. In fact, there used to be monks who used to brew beer. This might be, I don't know if you know this, right?
Yes.
It is called as Trappist beer.
अच्छा.
Trappist is the name.
Okay.
And there are, if I'm not mistaken, 7 or 8 brands of Trappist beer.
Used to exist.
They even exist now.
Okay.
Okay? That beer was brewed by the monks and it was sold, and that money was used to run the monastery. So it was sold to the common people, and that money was used to run the monastery. So no, that is not sin. In fact, it is literally used for a monastery, literally used for God's work. Right? So the definition of sin stock, what I'm trying to say, will be different from culture to culture. Right? Some cultures, casinos might be very bad. In some cultures, and again probably Japan, where casino or gambling is very common, it may not be a sin, it's entertainment. I'm just enjoying myself. But again, broadly, one more category I forgot, sin stocks. Weapons. Weapons manufacturing company. Now even here, if you dig deeper, you will see there's a difference. Certain weapons might be considered to be okay because, let's say I'm making bulletproof vests or I'm making radars, then it's okay because it's defensive. But maybe I'm making guns and selling them to all countries. Like, "Arey yaar, तुम्हारी वजह से violence बढ़ रहा है." So again, it's a very broad term, but the term came from the fact that a lot of institutions who are investing money said that we will not invest in sin stock. So we will not invest in any company which makes alcohol. We will not invest in any company which sells tobacco products, and so on and so forth. That is the logic. That is what is behind this concept, right? Of sins, as you are saying. So that's where that term comes from. And again, these are also globally, these are products which are heavily taxed. So again, there is a dichotomy. ना मतलब ये खराब है तो फिर government is making money from it. Oh, ये तो गड़बड़ है. But you could make a counter argument that that money can then be used to maybe rehabilitate those people, right? So अगर किसी का job चला गया उसकी वजह से या you have centers to treat alcoholism or whatever it is. So that could be the other argument, right? Also, you could say that by making it expensive, I am trying to avoid people buying it. So if less people taste it or buy it, less people get addicted. तो ये भी एक logic हो सकता है. So it depends on how you are marketing it, how you are pitching that idea, right? So taxation is usually huge on sin, and that's called a sin tax. So वो अलग अलग जगह पे use होता है word sin tax, sin marketing, sin stocks, and so on and so forth, right? So that I think is a long answer to your question.
Yes. I remember you mentioning ITC and I couldn't believe what you said. Tell that to the public. I don't know if they know it or not.
Okay. Started in 1918, I think. It was originally named the Imperial Tobacco Corporation of India. So that is, of course, the time when we were still ruled by the British, right? And its main business was selling cigarettes. So I think today, last time I checked the data, a little less than 50% of their revenue still comes from cigarettes. They have about a 73% market share of cigarette market in India, 73% market share, right? So if you convert that, 3 out of 4 cigarettes sold in India, if we can convert it that way, and there might be some issue with that because it's revenue converting to number of units. But broadly, 3 out of 4 cigarettes sold in India are sold by or are made by ITC. It's today just ITC Limited. It's a listed company in India, right? But if you are saying 46% to Baki kya? Well, Baki everything, right? See, in the 50s, 60s, sort of the tobacco, the whole awareness about cigarettes and cancer really started happening. It really went mainstream, right? Where it became accepted that, okay, cigarettes are responsible for cancer, right? Till that time, there was still some discussion, debate going on. There were court cases. There's a very nice movie called Thank You for Smoking. You should watch this definitely for all your viewers to understand cigarette lobby from a different view.
Okay.
But since that time, I think a lot of cigarette companies realized that, this is not going to be a very fast growing or very lucrative market for us. So we have to do something about it, right? We have to somehow stay in the business, right? So whether it is Philip Morris in the US or it's ITC here, they started looking at diversification. Right? Diversification, again, in simple terms, means when companies start getting into related or unrelated businesses, but different from their own businesses, right? So what ITC did, and did it very well actually, they got into a bunch of different businesses in India, which they saw there was going to be huge growth. Because remember that time, even today, but that time India had started to grow, started to develop, right? So one of the big businesses that they got into was hotels. ITC hotels.
Yeah.
Right? ITC brand of hotels, in Mumbai you have Maratha. In South, I think you have ITC Grand Chola. You have ITC Central in Parel, again in Mumbai. Delhi is ITC Moria. Maybe getting the name wrong. So they have a bunch of hotels. They have another brand called ITC Fortune Hotels, which is also owned by them.
Okay.
And in fact, ITC Hotels is now a separate listed company on the stock market.
And they sell cigarettes inside them?
Yeah, you can. There's actually a store inside that sells all ITC products, including cigarettes. Yes, that's true. You're right. You're not far from the truth. But so they said, okay, hotels. So think about the strategy behind it, right? Hotels is something that requires a lot of investment, huge investment. This is already a large company. Cigarettes generate a lot of revenue. So you have the money to invest. Now think from that angle. What are the sectors which require huge investments but will give you a lot of growth? FMCG, fashion. So they've got into all of those, right? You have Will's Lifestyle.
So they earn money, a lot of money from tobacco.
Yes.
And then they invested them in all these long-term.
Superb.
Long-term.
You got it. You
businesses.
got it. Absolutely right. So look at the brands they have today, right? Sunfeast is owned by ITC. Right? Sunfeast has a range of biscuits. They have Sunfeast is what? Yippee noodles?
Yeah.
Yippee, I think that's the name. Yippee
yes.
noodles. So they have noodle brands. They have a brand for paper products. So pens, books, etc.
Classmate.
I think it's called Classmate, I think, yeah.
Classmate ITC, yes.
Classmate, right?
That is why I think
that's why everybody knows.
I remember ITC logo.
Yeah. Correct, ITC Classmate. So that's a range of products there. They sell agarbattis. They have a brand for agarbattis. They sell atta. In fact, I think the number one selling atta in India is made by ITC. Again, you can check this. Ashirwad Atta, correct. That's ITC. Juices also, I think they have a brand called Be Natural, which is the juice brand for ITC.
Acha.
So yeah, bunch of things, and you put it very perfectly that they had a. So okay, think about it from a simple business strategy point of view. You have a cash cow business that is generating a lot of money, which may not grow as much as you would like, but it's generating a lot of money.
For example,
which is cigarettes.
हाँ ठीक.
बहुत पैसा आ रहा है. You are number one. You are 73%. It will grow
globally,
but no, India. This is
India,
ITC in
sorry.
India.
In
ITC
India,
is India. So two of their biggest brands are what? Gold Flake and Wills.
Okay.
Right. So those are the two largest selling cigarettes in India. If I'm not mistaken, they have other brands as well. So you have that. You have money coming through that. Right. But where do you invest that money? So you invest it in FMCG products. You invest it in toiletries. You invest it in fashion. So that's where they grow, right? Invested in food. So and they've done it perfectly. That the plan has been executed flawlessly. You know, you are the one who's worrying about ethics. I'm worrying about business strategy, and it's a flawless execution.
I'm not worrying about ethics.
It's flawless execution.
Like I should have started a tobacco company too. Maybe in future I would become a big conglomerate.
That's the idea. That's what they have done, and they have Look at it another way. They have done very well for their shareholders, right? They have done very well for their shareholders, for whom they work. That's the idea, right? People who have bought shares of ITC are saying, wow, great, yaar, you guys are doing well. Every year, you guys are launching new products. You're launching new brands that are getting established, brands that have a very specific positioning in the market, right? You have Fiamma Devils at a particular level. You have Essenza Devils above that. These are both companies that make toiletries. Right, personal care products as you would call them. So soaps,
yes,
body wash,
ITC owns
perfume. Yeah, Fiamma Devils.
यार कितना ITC
Essenza Devils, Fiamma Devils, all of those, right?
I've used Fiamma. I've eaten.
That's what I'm saying. Engage Dio.
No, I don't.
You've heard.
I'm allergic to Dio.
Yeah,
so.
but you know, Engage Dio. Engage Dio ITC.
Okay.
I mean, again, you're right. That's like if you go on their site, you'll see, अरे ये इतने सारे brands तो हमने बोले ही नहीं. Right, so it's a great strategy. Business strategy is great, right?
Is there any other brand who is similar to what ITC is doing? Selling tobaccos, but we are not aware much.
Alcohol, a lot of companies will do that. For example, so we have to talk about surrogate marketing in India, right? Particularly.
What is surrogate marketing?
What is surrogate marketing? Bagpiper Club Soda.
अच्छा, ठीक है.
What do you think Bagpiper makes?
Okay, they make alcohol, but
Correct.
there's...
Correct. So that's surrogate marketing, right? In 1995, there was a law passed in India which said that cigarette and alcohol products can no longer be, tobacco and alcohol products can no longer be marketed, no longer advertised. You cannot, right? You cannot advertise them. Okay, but you already have companies, they are selling, they want to grow. So how do you go ahead? Karna kya hai fir abhi? So they came up with this idea known as surrogate advertising. So how does it work? So you have a brand of beer or whiskey or whatever, right? You launch a brand of CDs, playing cards, glasses, and you advertise that. Naam same hai, to main kya karu? So Bagpiper Club Soda, I am marketing Club Soda. I am marketing playing cards. I am marketing
people know
CDs.
what I am selling.
Of course. There's enough. If you see those ads, are very cleverly made by talented directors like you. Right, and people get the idea. Plus, remember a lot of advertising for whiskey or alcohol is also advertising just to give you a recall, right? कि अरे हाँ यार ये I love this brand. It's just to stay on top of your mind, right? So and you see that with every brand. I don't want to pick on any particular brand. Every brand does that. Some brands are doing it well. What I mean by that?
The surrogate marketing.
Yeah, what I mean by that is they are actually creating a product which is a viable product in itself. What do I mean? Such as Kingfisher mineral water at one point was actually I think top 5 selling mineral water.
Acha.
So it was not just surrogate. It was actually a product that could be sold. Right? There are, I think, I don't remember the brand, a brand which creates these kind of, I think it's a vodka brand, which creates these parties or experiences where people can come and enjoy. And those parties or those experiences are actually something that people buy tickets to. Events, what I'm trying to say is, when someone comes and performs and it's a party. So rather than just making it a surrogate marketing, it actually becomes a great marketing for them.
Yeah.
And it might even generate money for them. So that's sort of taking it to the next level. Right? Where I say that, for example, when Kingfisher bought a Formula 1 team, if the Formula 1 team succeeds, वो हुआ नहीं, अलग बात है. But if the Formula 1 team becomes successful, they will actually generate money for the company. At the same time, giving them a great brand recognition. Oh, yeah, Formula 1 company, yeah, this is the beer. This is the beer I drink. Right. So that's an interesting take on surrogate advertising. A lot of them just do surrogate advertising, pure and simple. Club soda, everybody knows what they're trying to say.
Ads में गाने बड़े बढ़िया बनते हैं.
Correct.
Surrogate marketing वाले.
Correct. Because, I mean, again, think about it, right? Cigarette, so it's super addictive, yes. But with alcohol, beer or whiskey or any other drink, right? What are you actually selling? The feel good that you get, right? That feeling that you get, right? I mean, yes, there'll be 5% people who will say, iska taste best hai, uska taste. But end of the day, a lot of people are just trying to get into a good frame of mind. So you are only trying to build that imagery, na? अरे मैं दोस्तों के साथ पार्टी कर रहा हूँ. अरे मैं कहीं ब्यूटीफुल जगह पे बैठा हूँ. अरे I am the top of my game. There was this very famous Gutka ad that had happened many years back. The Gutka brand was called Manik Chand. Their tagline was "Uche log uchi pasand," and the ads were just high-powered executives wearing these posh clothes, coming out of huge cars. Uche log uche pasand. And this guy, this CEO or chairman of the company, sits down. He takes out a pack and he has Manik Chand. Now, because a Gutka is a Gutka, right? But end of the day, you are trying to build that image. Right? There is one right now, I don't remember the brand, which says शौक बड़ी चीज है. पान बहार.
अरे पान बहार और पान पसंद का ही हुआ था ना, ऐसा कुछ.
पान पसंद तो कैंडी थी.
नहीं,
पान का स्वाद गजब की मिठास.
पान पराग और पान बहार का हुआ.
हो सकता है, right? So same thing.
शौक बड़ी चीज है.
Same thing with alcohol, right? To a large extent, you are trying to sell that I have achieved something in life, or this whenever I have this particular drink, I am able to enjoy with my friends. मतलब इससे ज़्यादा enjoyment मुझे नहीं आता है when I meet my friends. So that's where that surrogate advertising that fits in perfectly. तुम सोडा बोलो या कुछ भी बोलो. So it works out, na? Yeah, one very interesting example I forgot to mention a while back is this, which is not exactly surrogate marketing, because that's something actually we should let our viewers decide. How would you categorize Royal Challengers, the IPL team? Your favorite, I'm told.
No, I am a CSK fan.
Okay. So point here is for anybody who's an IPL fan or otherwise, is Royal Challengers the name of the team? Is it actually surrogate marketing? Because technically not the same name. Royal Challenge is the name of the whiskey and beer that they sell, right? This is United Spirits.
So Royal Challenge is a brand, right?
Right. It's United. It is owned by United Spirits.
So I think it all started with Royal Challengers Bangalore.
Correct, because it was a team that was owned by Abhishek Bhide or whatever the company, right? So it started that way. But you could argue, this is a great way to promote the brand, because every time you look at the brand, you are obviously thinking about the original brand. If you see Royal Challengers, you think Royal Challenge. So this is what I'm talking about, right? Now, if and when or already that brand is valuable, right? So you've already created a separate product, separate category, separate IP, if you want to call it that, which is successful in its own way. So that to me is the most interesting way of surrogate advertising. Where you just don't look at it as surrogate, but think of it as a separate product that helps promote your original brands.
So, do these companies only use surrogate marketing, or is there any other form of marketing as well?
The other form of marketing, or the other trend in marketing, let me put it that way. Another trend in marketing that is coming up, and I don't think it's yet been done in India. Maybe. Oh, it actually is. I just realized. I was going to give you examples of spirit brands that were started by celebrities. And there are two big names from Hollywood that were in my mind. And one is George Clooney. He has a brand of tequila, and I'm going to ask you to do research and put it down on the screen.
ठीक है, हाँ वो रहेगा.
And there is a very nice brand of, very nice meaning the brand advertising is very nice, of gin, which is owned and promoted by Ryan Reynolds.
Achha.
It's called Aviation Gin.
That
so he
guy
does
is buying
these
a lot of things.
This guy, I think, I don't know if he still owns it or he's already sold it, but he does these very cool kind of ads for that gin. And so that has given a personality to that gin, and it's given a brand image to that gin. And while I was going to tell you about that, I just realized Aryan Khan has launched a whiskey brand, right? Shah Rukh Khan's son.
Acha.
It's like a premium whiskey brand. I think the name is Diayol, Dayol, right? And it's a 7 or 8,000 rupees a bottle
Huh?
for a Scotch, and it's some.
So it's a premium brand.
Yeah, super premium brand. And he's launched a bunch of products. Along with that, there's a whiskey that he's launched. Then you had brand ambassadors who are doing that, right? But that's a company है और भाई वो किसी को approach करते हैं as a brand ambassador. Here, this is his brainchild, his baby, right? And he has a bunch of clothing wear. He has a vodka and a whiskey, and both are sort of premium.
Acha.
And again, I'm going to ask you to write the correct name for both, right? So that's happening even in India, right? So people are looking for that something different, right? Kuch alag when they buy, and that's same.
So
every
it
brand,
means like celebrities are using their own face, their own popularity to sell their new.
not just sell, in this case, create and sell. That's the difference, right? They
Yeah, so
own, they
to sell
have
their
a
own
stake
new
in that
brand of
company. Yeah,
alcohol.
they have a stake in that company, or in some cases, it's their idea, right? They decide. There is again, this is going away from our topic, but there is a brand of coffee that Clint Eastwood. Who am I talking about? There's a famous actor who has this brand of Kevin Costner, I think.
Okay.
Coffee. Because he himself is a coffee fan, so he has come up with this coffee brand.
Next new brand is going to be from Abhishek Bhide.
Oh, nice, sure. I don't know what am I going to be selling.
Coffees.
Okay. Just getting it clear. Coffee liquor. How about coffee liquor?
Coffee liquor.
Coffee liquor. Coffee liquor.
I'll have 50% share in
Favorite
that.
version. Okay, for doing nothing. Okay.
For drinking.
But we should end on a very interesting story. And sort of going back to where we started. So there is a brand. There used to be a brand of company called RJ Reynolds. Got acquired later on. There's a long history. Nice book for your viewers called Barbarians at the Gate.
Acha.
RJ Reynolds. Just search for that and you'll get that.
Okay.
So this was a company started by Mr. RJ Reynolds called RJR Tobacco or something like that. And they were based in a small town in the US known as Winston-Salem.
Okay.
Winston-Salem.
Okay.
What happened was the town grew around that factory. Right, so either the people there used to work in that factory or in their company, headquarters was also there, or they were in some business which was supplying to that. So everybody essentially in that town was somehow associated with that company. Now, as the company grew, there was a a trend, or there was a tradition in that company that in that town that whatever extra money people had, they would put it in the stock of that. So they would buy more stock of RJ Reynolds.
Because it was very successful.
Because it was successful, हमारा company है, हमारे गाँव का है kind of thing. There was this भाईचारा culture, right? Everybody was involved in some way. So whatever excess money they had, they would buy, and the company used to give very good dividends. They used to keep buying more. As a result, almost everybody in that town at one point became a millionaire.
Ooh.
And they were so happy. And they
Is
said,
it called
we are...
Switzerland?
Sorry?
Is it called Switzerland?
No, that town was Winston-Salem. The name of the town was Winston-Salem, which also, this company had two brands of cigarettes. One was called Winston and one was called Salem, after the town Winston-Salem. So, because all of them had such a great experience, such a great relation with the company, they actually pulled some money together and put up hoardings across the town. And those hoardings gave rise to that movie name. The hoarding just said,
Barbarians.
"Thank you for smoking."
Oh, acha.
That's why the movie "Thank You for Smoking." You can actually Google it, or you can just put it on the board. There's a board. Thank you for
smoking. It's on
smoking.
RJ Reynolds.
It was in that city. No, the movie is about the smoking industry in general.
Achha.
Smoking lobby, smoking industry in general. It's a beautiful movie. How it started, how they used to influence public opinion, how they used to market. And they have had a very, very questionable marketing strategies at one point. They used to target underage smokers, get them hooked. So I mean that's an entire story in itself. But this is way back. This is before any tobacco law. Some might argue, if we had somebody on the other side, he would argue that at that time, did people really know that smoking caused cancer? That's another story, right? And I don't have.
Okay, that time people didn't know that.
Again, it's not established, right? There was a particular time where they had the research where they said, oh yes, smoking causes cancer, right? Before that, I remember the time when you could smoke in theaters, you could smoke in lifts, you could smoke in restaurants, right?
Yes, you could
And
smoke in flights.
Smoke in flights. And at that time, the line at that time, small tobacco or smoking may lead to cancer, right? Or may be one of the causes of cancer, right? So because that irrefutable evidence was not there at that point. So that was a particular period in time. So we can go back and we can say, अरे एक ज़माने में तो everybody used to eat tobacco, कुछ नहीं होता था. So again, it's time की बात है, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Let's wrap it up.
Yes.
Please don't ban me.